Yo, hell yeah. Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo, ho, 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 ho. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Welcome to Wyatt. And I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grr, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. Hey, to all my YouTubers out there, if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, just click that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen. Just click it, click it, click it. I loves to click it. Hey, let me tell you something. This is the Wyatt Holiday Christmas Show. And it's a Bearful BigBoi one because we've got very, very special guests. It's the panel, y'all. It's James Butler, Chooi, Ali Lopez. And these gentlemen are leading and prominent voices and influencers within the BigBoi community. So we're going to shoot the breeze. I'm going to ask them if they've been like naughty, nice, or in between. So let's get it on. Without further ado, I welcome these esteemed gentlemen. We've got Ali Lopez, we've got James Butler, we've got Chooi, and they're here for the Wyatt 1922 barely BigBoi holiday show. Talk at me, gentlemen. How the hell are ya?
Ho, ho, ho. Well. I'm doing just fine. Just came from doing a Santa show, so I'm still in makeup.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, you know what? You, Ali, you look fabulous. And thank you guys for coming on Wyatt. You guys are prominent, leading influencers and voices within the Bear and BigBoi community. And I could be your press agent. You like that?
Oh, man, you flatter me.
Hey.
You flatter me.
Do I get a cut? Because I mostly do all my stuff for free. I could use some cash.
All right.
We'll talk about it at the end of this show off air.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, cool. First of all, let us reintroduce you to our audience. First, you've got Ali Lopez. And Ali, you have titles. You've got Mr. International Leather Bear and Mr. International Daddy Bear. So congratulations on that. And just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Ali Lopez. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, serving the military for 6.5 years on regular Army, then 3.5 years reserves. Got out of the military because I discovered that I was gay, and being EOD tech, that was not a good thing. So once I discovered my gay side, I came out to myself and started finding out that I was a bear, but I was not welcome in the bear community at large, and that created an issue for me. So I became an activist, trying to make sure that other bears of color didn't go through the same thing that I went through. The winning of the titles was incidental. I never meant to try to win a contest. I entered the contest to create visibility for our community. That I won, that became an incidental, and I ran with it. I make sure that I have a platform of being inclusive, trying to make sure that things get done in our community. Also trying to make sure that the Bears of Puerto Rico get represented, especially after Hurricane Maria and Fiona, who destroyed Puerto Rico as recently as 5-6 months ago. So all the progress that we made basically 5 years later was just set back. But we keep working every day to try to make things better. Passing the baton back to you so others can get some words in, because otherwise I'll be here talking all day.
And listen, we're going to talk about racism, discrimination, inclusion, diversity within the Bear Big Boy community a little bit later. So I'm glad you brought that up. But now let's swing over to Mr. Butler, because he's the creator and founder of the BigBoi Project and the Bear Network. So tell us a little bit about yourself, my brother.
Okay, well, I'm James Butler, a Georgia boy. Like Wyatt said, I created the BigBoi Project, where we talk about, well, like we're going to do today, talk about issues, nerd stuff, bear topics, big boy topics, stuff like that. The Bear Network, same thing, where I get to interview different people going through different life experiences and stuff like that. Do a little writing here and there about certain topics I enjoy. That's pretty much it for me.
May I say something real quick, because this is something that is not widely known. James actually has been a great help when it came to me doing my outreach, because when I did my flyers for events trying to include bears of color, he was very much instrumental in putting those together for me. I wanted a person of color to actually be at the forefront of doing my flyers, because we were invisible to many people, and I wanted someone that looked like me to actually do the work. And I thank James from the bottom of my heart for all that. Thank you.
Oh, you know what? As Michael Jackson would say, Tito, give me a tissue. Just, give me a tissue.
Your mind stop piecing.
But anyway, let's go to Mr. Don Chooi. He is the creator of, first of all, you are a gay bear artist. Your brand is D Chooi Doodles. So tell us, what's that all about?
Oh, well, hi everyone. So I started off doodling on the side in 2005, when we still had dial-up modem, just to share my fantasies. Really, when I discovered my gay side upon moving to New Zealand back in '96. And I was a very naive young man, and then and discovered the bear culture quite later in my life journey. I felt that it resonated with my own personal ideals, but then, like what Ali has mentioned, it's kind of when you peel it over in the underbelly of stuff, there's quite a bit of a contention. Anxieties and tension around that. So I use my artwork just to allow myself a voice, just to talk about bigger bodies, bodies of color, and also what does it mean to be a bear in today's world, and especially being the non-black person on your panel. But hopefully I bring in a much more international viewpoint, coming in from an Asia Pacific point of view. So here I am. Hi, everyone.
But you're always
I'm
welcome.
glad, because you see, I'm glad because Wyatt is international now, so that's good. Now, and thank you, my followers. Okay, now it's time to have some fun. Okay, first of all, here's my first. Yes. First question is this, gentlemen, and anybody can answer first. This year, 2022, not 2021 or 2020, we're talking 2022. Have you been A, naughty? Have you been B, nice? Or C, have you been in between, and why?
Definitely being in between for me. There wasn't any opportunity to be naughty or nice, considering that New Zealand went through a really strict lockdown in 2020 and 2021. Basically became a hermit And by the time you came out in 2022, there's all that social anxiety, all that social, nuances that how to interact with people, reading body language, completely gone. And all of a sudden, when you go off to the supermarket and you see people and you just go, oh, no, stay away from me. And that kind of put a cramp on my sexual mojo.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Pretty much.
Don't touch me. Don't breathe on me. That sort of thing.
It's like people, ew.
So in my case, I just felt like I did not have any opportunities to be good or bad or naughty, because I just existed in 2022 and just made sure I just continued looking after myself, looking after the people I love and care about. And that became the focus. That's for me. Yeah.
Right. And that's good. I am so impressed. Now, who's next?
I mean, I'm with Don pretty much. I mean, mostly in the house. Haven't been doing anything because people may not know, there's still COVID.
Yep.
Indeed.
And there's still other stuff that now come out trying to kill us nowadays. So I've been pretty much at home, going to work, working on projects. Like I said, I've been like in between. I haven't been naughty or nice. Just been in the bed.
Yeah, but with who? Who? Who?
Well,
nobody. Until you get tested.
Well, for me, I've been all over the place. Because I do a lot of outreach, not just in the LGBTQ community. I also do a lot of outreach in the straight community. I work for a few charities here in Prince George's County, Maryland, and also in Baltimore County. One of the specific ones is Helping Orphans Prosper Everywhere, where I go to schools as Santa Claus, making sure that kids know that St. Nicholas, which is the original Santa Claus, was actually a man of color. He was actually a Moor. Having the ability to speak 5 languages comes handy, especially when you have children that come from other countries. And when you actually speak in their language, they really lose their mind. But also working in the LGBTQ community, because we also need to make sure that we help our own. Helping, like, for example, yesterday I was doing 12 Days of Christmas, which was the first time that I was invited to that event, where the charities actually help our community. Also, Daddy XMAS, which was done about a week ago before at the Baltimore Eagle, helping the shipmates of Baltimore raise money for different charities also. So, for me, it has been a very busy 2 years. Even under COVID, I've been wearing my mask, making sure that I take all precautions, take your children away. Yep, I love you. Love you, mean it, but take them away. But also dealing with adults, because like I said, it's important that we do the work to be able to help our community. And I mean in general, not just the LGBTQ community, but our kids also need our help, because we need to be a bridge in our community, so people like the Proud Boys don't have the effect that they're having right now, because we cannot allow them to have the narrative. We are not groomers. We are not trying to take your children. We are trying to survive. That's all we're trying to do.
Got it. Well said, Ali. Do I have to answer this question?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
You do.
Yeah.
Well, my 2022 is sort of in line with you guys. You know, you have COVID. I've been having some back issues, but I feel a lot better. So my mobility wasn't 100% the way I would like it to be.
You need somebody to blow your back. Isn't that it?
However,
let me echo that.
You're quite right.
Can't get the legs up in the air no more.
Can I finish, please? Can I finish my story? I want to tell my story. Anyway, I have indulged a little bit, and I noticed that as I get older, I become more adventurous. I'm more into role playing.
Mhm.
I'm more dominant. I'm more verbal. So I would say kind of somewhere in between naughty and nice. Now that's all I'm gonna say about this. I'm gonna move on
He
to. I
wants
don't
to
want y'all
be
to
the
comment.
daddy. He wants to
Stop
be the
it!
daddy.
Let's
Well-
move on.
Well, Ali can send you a good leather pack kit.
This is something we need to know more
Let
about.
us.
Mm.
That's for another show. That's for another show. But let's
Sounds
move on
like a
to
good
something
segue
else.
there.
Yeah, let's move on to something else, gentlemen. When did you first get into that bear state of mind? When did you first know you were attracted to bears, big boys, and when did you first say, "That's what I am"? Anybody can start.
For me, it was the internet.
No.
I mean, because living in a small town, you ain't have references to anything. So the only place you can find out information is the internet.
Okay.
And one day, searching stuff I ain't supposed to be searching.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
came across the community. I was like, okay. Digging this, like, okay,
Naughty.
I see. But really, but being honest, some blogs, Blogger, Live Journal, stuff like that, were writing pieces about it, about the bear community, big boy community. And
pieces about it?
Yeah,
Okay.
like articles.
Okay, right. Oh, okay.
And they had all these terms. You know, how they do the terms of, or slang in the community.
Right.
And I like, bear, like, that fits me the most. Because at the time, like I said, when you grow up, you kind of in the mix of who am I, what I'm doing, teenage stuff. So,
exactly.
So the internet pretty much helped me out, oddly enough. Internet nowadays is like going to war.
Yeah.
the
But
innocent days of the internet.
Right. But having something that you can search, if you have questions, you can search it up. So pretty much how I learned about the bear community is through the internet, or big boy community through the internet. I've seen the groups, I've seen the blogs. I remember back when it was like, it was like, I think Facebook was out or MySpace or somewhere around that era. Where it had King's Place. I don't know if anybody remembers King's Place.
I do.
That's when I really knew, okay, this is where I belong. This is me. This represents me.
Okay, Mr. Chooi.
Well, it's a lengthy story, so I'll try to keep it short. So originally, I'm from Malaysia, which has a very strict views on homosexuality first and foremost, and it's also a very sexually repressed society as well. So everything's very taboo, let alone being gay and all that stuff. But being to sexually express yourself is pretty taboo as well. So when I first got to New Zealand, which is a very liberal country, my first exposure to gay material, and then you got to remember, this was way back in the 90s, and it's all dial-up modem, so it wasn't very reliable to pull out one image, which was literally half an hour.
Right.
So I had to rely on art books, you see. So one of them was the Taschen Tom of Finland art books. So that was my first foray into the male physique. And as you know, the hyper idealized bodies of Tom of Finland characters. When I saw it, of course, it's very erotic and stuff like that. But I went to the sleazy side of town.
You needed something.
The sleazy side of town. The back rooms. The back rooms.
Oh yeah.
Not
And
you.
then you see all the other what society would deem us as unsavory looking characters, the rough trades, and they're like the bigger pot-bellied figures. They're fully figured, and I found myself to be far more intrigued by this crowd, the rough and tumble crowd, rather than the waxed, polished bubble butt people. And then the more I looked into it, it's like,
I'll go take that, bubble butt people. I'm gonna take that.
all right, fine. Bubble butt people love those two.
Well,
love those two.
I love big bubble butts. But go ahead, please.
I like big butts and a nut pie.
By the time I went and investigated, I found out I wasn't alone.
Mm-hmm.
There was people who are into this crowd. And the more and New Zealand's gay scene is pretty small as well. We've got more sheep here than people, right? So back then there was only 4 million people to the whole country. So the leather community, the chub community, the bear community all mingled into one identity here. So the whole foray or in exploration into the bigger bodies, their ideals seem to meet mine because I love food. You see, I'm a foodie. I love food. So I'm going, oh yeah, we're not going to the gym today. Oh yeah, that's great. Let's just stay at the pub. Let's just drink, have some drinks and eat. So that was my crowd. So
brunch, anyone?
Brunch. Second 2 lunches, please. So yeah.
Let me guess, you're a hobbit.
Yeah. So later in life, I just have to say, I discovered that the community mindset, the global mindset, really, into what bears is, because you got the gatekeepers, the self-appointed gatekeepers, what bears should be like, and I found that very, I wouldn't say very boring, but I would say, because that's not what I want to describe the average gay bear person. I'd say that there's so much more layers and colors and shapes and that define this mindset, that define this ideal, rather than just going, this is the one option and that's the only option. So now I look at it from a global point of view, and I'm going, wow, this guy's from China is doing this. This guy's from Japan is doing this. This guy's from Thailand, from India. They're all doing their own thing, and they have their own merits. So now I'm going, awesome.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, well put, Mr. Chooi, Mr. Lopez. It's your turn now.
Oh boy, here we go. Well, like I said, I grew up in Puerto Rico, and I never had the opportunity. I knew that I was different. I just didn't know how. My first crushes were Mr. French from from that show. Can think of Family Affair.
Family Affair.
But then wrestlers like Carlitos Colon and many other wrestlers from Puerto Rico that were, in the singlets and big bodies and strong bodies. And it's like, I used to watch it. And it's like, ooh, made your heart on. But I never acted on any of that. Once I joined the military and I started soul searching myself and I figured out that I was gay, I got out of the military because having been an EOD tech, you're exposed to having to do psych evaluations every 6 months to make sure that you're all there and you don't end up committing suicide and killing other people in the process. So once I got out and I started exploring, I went to a place in Baltimore called the Hippo and started dancing there because I love to dance. But I never found anybody that I was attracted to because everybody was a dance boy. They all wanted to learn how to dance from me, but that was about it. Then one day, this guy named Dave came from West Virginia. He was a red-headed bear, and we hit it off. I started teaching him how to dance. Next thing you know, I took him home, and things happened. But before he left, he had a bear magazine in his pocket, and he said to me, "Oh, you're quite a bear," and I'm like, "What?" And wait a minute, did you hear me growling? Because when I get angry or aroused, I growl, and that's a natural response. I swear to God, my husband will tell you that is a natural response. So he says, "You're quite a bear," and he gave me a bear magazine, issue number 8. I remember like it was yesterday.
Number 8. Okay.
And that's when I discovered the bear community. And as I met other people, I met my my what I call my leather godparents, Bob and Roger Ream, who was actually Mr. International Grizzly, 1985, 95, excuse me, 95. But anyway, he and his husband introduced me to the bear community, and they took me to my first bear meet, and that's when I encountered that not everybody that I found me attractive because they weren't into bears of color. But that's a completely different story, and it's a long story. But to make it a long story short, I have navigated through life trying to make sure that the same thing that happened to me doesn't happen to anybody else. Try to improve bear relations within the community, making sure that bears of color are represented, and that's one of my biggest goals. And I'm married now to the love of my life. He's also Puerto Rican, and he's asleep now because he has to work tomorrow. I'm off, so but that's basically it.
I have to say, okay, sorry, I have to say too, big boys have better sex.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's true because, as my mother would say, I need a man with meat on his bones.
Yeah.
Right.
I would break
something that you can hold. Something you can hold on to and squeeze, and just and just.
So I'm not saying that I'm a whore in my younger days. I am a whore. But there have been few samplings. A few sampling across the spectrum, and I find bigger boys definitely have more fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what? We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But what I want to ask you about right now is discrimination, racism, inclusion, diversity within the bear community, because I believe the bear community is mostly white. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, they like to think so, but I disagree.
That's what they promote.
Yeah, I disagree.
Okay. Keep it going.
The reason why I say I disagree, and James can back me up on this, is because they have been holding the narrative for a very long time. The fact that not many magazines and many websites, even if you look, for example, on Twitter, you barely see any bears of color featured on a certain body type. You only see a certain specific body type, certain hirsutity. You don't see Asians, you don't see bears of color, you don't see Puerto Ricans, and the main reason why is because magazines don't approach people like us. I used to see when I used to do a lot of the circuit, many photographers would skip bears of color and wouldn't take pictures of them because it doesn't quite fit the narrative.
It's not profitable.
More bears of color in the last 10, 15 years that it ever has been. But the thing is, they were always there. They were just not visible.
I love playing devil's advocate here, guys. I really don't, and I can feel the hate's gonna come on from all your listeners, Wyatt. But in my discoveries, most photography is originally designed for white people. The color calibration for their cameras and stuff like that, it's for white skin. So it's not configured for anything less than white or more than white, really. So when photographers go out, especially during nighttime photography, darker skin is very difficult to photograph. And this is what I discovered.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. Right. So when because this is another slant to it that we can expand on this later if you like. But I also discovered there's an inherent built-in racism to different cultures. Now I'm speaking outside of America. All right, I'm speaking outside of America.
Right.
So when I look at my peers, my other artist friends, and when they draw groups of people, not just bears, but groups of people for events and organizations that run bear weeks or whatsoever, they tend to shy away from the darker colors because I found out there's two reasons for it. One, they didn't want to seem to misrepresent the minority groups. So they shy away from it because they don't dare to piss anyone off. And then secondly, their own culture is inherently racist. So if I'm going to talk about the Chinese group, Chinese people themselves are very racist towards anybody who's of darker skin color because they feel that they are much the working class. They feel like they are, the caste system. So the darker skin color you are, the more unfavored in society you are. So these are all screaming out of a caste system that's been in the place for centuries. So
Yes.
So when we try to say include darker skinned people or browner skinned people, like what Ali is just saying, profitable or not, it's playing onto the majority and saying that we're trying to avoid conflict by not including this minority groups. And so I don't know if the control of narrative is a subconscious thing or they're consciously saying, I don't want to include colored people of color in this because I don't want to incite, an argument. I just want to play along to the majority. So, but then on the flip side of things, God, I sound like the Dalai Lama now, don't I? On the flip side of things, it's like this is the 21st century, and with technology in our hands, and are you telling me that we can't improve things? Are you telling me we can't recalibrate photography to fit all shades of skin color? Are you telling me that with all the advancements of society that we can't go beyond, that we can't move beyond skin color? So there is that I am finding it very interesting on that side. But let me remind you, I'm not speaking about the American framework here. I'm just looking purely from an outsider.
That's a complete other mess.
Right.
Okay.
But
Mr. Butler, you want to chime
what I'm
in?
about to say is I agree with what you're saying, but for my end is if you scream, we want to be inclusive, do that. Because a lot of people say, okay, we're inclusive, but y'all have 10 white bears and 1 black bear in the middle. That's not inclusive.
Yes. That's tokenism.
It just
right.
It sticks out like a sore thumb too, an unpleasant sore thumb.
Because I'd rather you say, okay, we don't want to promote other people of color. I respect you more for that than you saying to me, oh, we're conclusive, but y'all not really inclusive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You being fake.
I hate that. I hate that. I hate it. Yeah.
So if, like you said, it's so, like social media, it's so many people you can reach out to nowadays to collab with, if you want more inclusive pictures, you can have so many people you can contact now.
Yeah. If Rihanna can do it, why can't these people?
Yes. Thank you. Love that
Rihanna can
woman.
do
Absolutely.
Riri, call me.
All right, gentlemen, this is good stuff. Okay, now I'm going to get really serious. Let's talk about body dysmorphia. Body image there's so much pressure on us gay, same gender loving men to have the so-called perfect body. And research has shown that on the whole, we don't like our bodies a lot of the time, much of the time. And that's because we are in places that ascribe to, perfection. We're in the bars, we're in the gym, we're in sex clubs, that have a premium on the so-called perfect body. So what say you guys about that whole issue, particularly as it pertains to Big Boy community?
I mean, all depends. Like, if you're talking about events or something like that, it all depends on what the creator wants. Because the opinion of one person not the opinion of another. So if he wants to, let's say if he want to promote and all he wants is muscle bears, that's all he's going to get, because that's his idea of the perfect body.
Yep.
If you go to somewhere else, somebody else's idea of a perfect body could be, like you say, chubby, beer belly, whatever.
Nice butt.
It's all depends who.
Rounded.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I'm going to interject here. Who of us, the four of us, have we got a personal sense of body dysmorphia of yourself?
No.
I've got
I'm cool with where I am.
I have a bit of body dysmorphia, really, because I have to say this. I have been hammered from a personal level of how I look, how I seem. I mean, come on, I'm from an Asian family. The first thing, the reason how my mother expressed her love for me is to say, eat more. You are so thin, you're so undernourished, eat more. And then on the flip side, she goes, my God, you're so fat. So my Asian upbringing,
that's conflicting messages.
They're not just Asian. That's Black Southern people too.
So I gotta say, my sense of body dysmorphia started off at home. So now I'm out here, and of course, I blame the internet for this, but I see friends who post pictures of themselves at the gym saying, "My God, I look so bad. I'm like, dude, you have freaking 46-inch freaking arms." What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You can't get any bigger.
Well, you know what? Listen, the internet is
feeding into my own insecurities. Going, my God, what about me then? Jeez, I'm like beef.
Yes.
So that's my take on that.
I mean, well, like I was saying, that's not an Asian thing. I think that's a Black Southern thing.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell you, "Oh, you too skinny. You need to eat."
It's a Puerto Rican thing.
But at the same time,
yep,
you're like, "Oh, you don't want to get too big. You get the sugar."
Yep.
But you're feeding me.
My grandmother, every time when I was served in the military, every time that I went on leave, she would try to feed me and feed me and feed me. It's like, Grandma, I'm eating well. Yeah, but you don't get this thing in the army. It's like, come on. You can eat a little more plátanos. You can eat pasteles. You can eat this. It's like, Grandma, please stop. I can cook all that. Thank you very much. But I had issues growing up due to an uncle that used to tell me how ugly and fat I was until the day that I came back from leave the first time, and he came to tell me that, and I pulled him aside and I said, "Excuse me, you might have told me that when I was a kid. I am now a soldier in the United States Army. You don't tell me shit. And the next time you tell me that, you're probably going to end up eating my fist. Do you understand me?" And he shook his head, yes. And from there on, he stopped doing that. And I stopped blaming myself and making myself feel bad for my outer appearance, because that at the end didn't really matter. I am who I am. I'm my father's son. I look just like my dad, except with a darker skin. And I came to peace with it. And to this day, I have not gotten my AI image remade yet. Since everybody else seems to be doing it, I don't feel the need. As much as I would like to do some cool artwork of myself, I let Don do that for me because he is a freaking genius. First,
Right.
Yes,
the
he
man
is.
does
Yes.
incredible work,
He does.
Seriously.
and I have to give him
Seriously.
props in here real quick. Uh, when I decided that I wanted to do a dance at World Bear as one of the events at World Bear this year, Harrison Valen, I reached out to Don and I told him, Don, I have an idea for a dance and I'm trying to put together artwork before I talk to the producers. I want to have all my ducks in a row. Would you be interested in doing a Hellfire Gala dance artwork for me? And as soon as I said that, he said, stop right there. You had me at
Hellfire.
Gala.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the artwork in such a way
Naughty.
that nothing had to be changed. It's like he freaking read my mind, put everything together.
Mhm.
I showed it to the producers, and they were like, "Can you ask him if we can change our artwork to his artwork?"
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
Well, listen, let me say this about Mr. Chooi, and then I've got two more really salacious questions for you guys. First of all, Don has helped me with the cover of my new novel that will drop in the spring. Okay, the new novel is Nothing Can Tear Us Apart. Shattered! Remember that. Shattered, I said. So, Don, I'm going to send you the cover later, but he gave me he helped me with the concept and all of that. So Don Chooi is amazing. Now let me go on to my two questions.
Contact Don on some stuff myself. So.
I'll trade you for some, salacious pics.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, now we'll talk about that later. I got two questions. First question is this: let's say that you're in a relationship or you're dating someone and it started out to be monogamous, but for some reason your partner wants a polyamorous thing going on. He wants to bring a third person on so y'all can have a throuple. Would you say yes, no, and why? Now, keep in mind, you really want it to be monogamous, but your partner wants to introduce
I'm going to let you all answer that first.
My first instinct is no, and we need to talk because I need to know why you brought that up. What's the reason? No, just have a conversation. Like, where's your mind at? Because if you just saying that out the blue, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a conversation that needs to be had.
Okay, who's next? Who wants to chime in?
Ali.
Don, you're next.
I'm going to put my foot down on the landmine for this one. Gosh, thanks, Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to be honest, it's me. Hello, I'm the problem. It's me. I have entertained the idea of polyamory, not polygamy, but polyamory, and I'm learning what separates those two concepts up. And I know I think in today's world, I feel like there's a lot of sexual expressions, a lot of different layers of what makes a person and what happens in a relationship, in a healthy relationship. And I've opened my eyes to a couple to a couple of friends of mine who's dwelled into the polyamory side of things, and they seem to have things worked out. And I've always been very curious about it. Until recently, my situation has always been just the two of us, right? We've dedicated ourselves just the two of us. And the more
And the cat.
and the older I get, the more I go, there are certain things that I'm not getting out of this one person who's in some way or another unable to fulfill that gap. And if I can menu log my dinner, I can Uber Eats my food, as I always go back to food. Can I have my cake and eat it as well? So I would love to broach a subject with my partner now, to say, hey, look, is it possible that we can consider adding a third or maybe a fourth or maybe expanding the family tree, in this way to see what happens? But we always have the two of us to come back.
Somebody's getting a harem.
Lord, good golly, Miss
This doesn't
Molly.
get heard by him, that's for sure, because I'm still biding my time here. I'm still biding my time to bring this up. But I'm not saying that I'm greedy. I'm not saying I'm greedy. I want to try it out. I'm curious. I'm just curious how the dynamics of this.
You only live one life, so
yeah. And look, Ali knows this, and I think James. I think I brought it up with you. Brought this subject up before. Said that I'm a widow, right? And my partner back then, he died. He passed away at 44 years old. And just like that. And it kind of shifted my mindset a bit, thinking life's too short. Life's too short. And if I'm curious about something, and if it's okay, of course, with safety nets put into place, I would like to give it a go and see what happens.
If you can explore something that might bring some happiness into your life, I personally, I'm open to it. As right now, I don't think I'm there yet, but I support it for people that come into it with open eyes, that know the pros and cons, and it's something that definitely needs discussion and know exactly where you're at. Because the first thing that you want to be, you have to be happy within yourself to bring happiness to someone else.
Right.
If it's just going to be something that is just going to make someone else happy, only, that's not a plus. It's actually a minus.
Yeah.
So it has to be a plus for everyone involved. Otherwise, personally, I would have to say no. Yeah. But if everyone is in agreement and everyone has the care and communication to be able to explore this in a safe way where no one gets hurt and everyone allows themselves to be heard, because that's something else that has to come into play. You have to be able to listen to each other. If only one person is doing all the talking, which unfortunately some relationships fall under, it makes it very difficult for everyone to get something out of the relationship.
Yeah.
So,
well, you are absolutely right, Ali. Open, honest, effective communication are so important. And for me, I'm not in a committed relationship right now. If I were, I don't think. Stop it. Because I'm not in a committed relationship right now. If I were, I couldn't do it. But because I'm not, I can do whatever the hell I want to do.
But anyway, make sure everybody grown as well. Because a lot of people don't have a grown mindset.
Yeah. No, but I do appreciate what James had said earlier on, is that if my partner, if I hadn't entertained an idea for polyamory, and if my partner had suddenly just popped in and just said, hey, look, let's bring a third person in. Yeah, James, that would exactly be my response as well, going, what? What?
Right. What? But just like all of us say, like we need to have a communication. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Because if you just bringing somebody in and we ain't talked about it, that's gonna cause a problem.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right.
A big problem. Okay, gentlemen, here's my last question, and I want to thank you for appearing on Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Okay.
Wyatt.
I'll start with Mr. Lopez. What's one thing, one takeaway that you want people to know about the Bear Big Boy community? If there was just one thing, what would it be?
The Big Bear community can be very welcoming. I hope that someday we get to the place where everyone is welcome and everyone is allowed to grow within the community. We can get close, unfortunately, at least here in the United States, due to the last 4 years of the previous administration. A lot of division happened, and that's still happening right now. We need to gather together because there's strength in togetherness. We can actually surpass Proud Boys, we can surpass the churches that are after us by uniting and helping each other out. Let's stop all this bickering about who's better, who has the most hair, or whatever. Just help each other out and go from there. Life is too short for all this bullshit.
Well put. How about you, Mr.
I echo
Chooi?
the sentiments that Ali has put together. I'll just add on to say that the current state of play is that there is a lot of division. And I don't know whether it's the political situation, the social situation, but it's not just restricted to one location like the United States. We see that we're beginning to see a lot of pushback towards the queer advances that we've had this past few years. And there's more vocal pushback, there's more physical pushback. And I don't know what that is coming from, but I think it is also dividing, it's fracturing our queer community within ourselves as well.
Yes.
So we're not just talking about the twinks versus the bears, it's the bears versus the bears, the twinks versus the twinks.
Yep.
So I don't know where would this rifts heal? How would they heal? I think this is what we call a wicked problem, societal, political, religious, so all these things is just, it seems bleak right now. There's an economic downturn and all that stuff. Everything just seems so pensive, I think, so quite tense, everything. So my what I'm trying to say is that we gotta consciously make an effort to align our viewpoints and stand as a united front. We have got to say that there's a bigger picture at play here that we have to push back on. When people say, "Oh, you are being a hypocrite because you're intolerant towards the intolerant," and you go eat shit and die. I know Wyatt has lists of words I can't use, but that's okay. Okay, good.
That's okay.
This goes. Please don't.
Well, blip it.
That's okay. Look, this is the end of the year. It's the end of the year. That's
when
okay.
we say, don't fuck around for those people, I'm going, no. You can't be a pacifist and just roll over and just, you have got to fight for the right to exist. You can't just
exactly. You know what I mean? Thank you.
So that's my take. As far as the big boys of color goes, again, that boils down to all this mistrust of each other that's been built into us from generations upon generations. I don't know if this is coming from media exposure or whatsoever, but from a personal point of view, I just feel that my own brethren, my own kinsmen, when I say look, let's stand together for this sort of thing, they all seem to just shy away like cockroaches being exposed to sunlight. And you go, why aren't you participating with me in this? If you on the sidelines are screaming out, we want equality, we want to be recognized, then you have got to stand up for this. You can't just, somebody else, I'll let somebody else do this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I find it absolutely frustrating.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I'm trying to put together this whole thing about United Front and say, hey, look, we need more Asians representation. All right, let's pull together and let's put it out there. I'd say the participation value is 0%. And you go, what is it that's holding you back? I don't want to be targeted. I don't want my family to know about this. And I feel really frustrated most of all, but quite angry at some times as well, because we have all this messaging, but it doesn't mean shit if nobody comes along.
If we don't do anything about it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Butler? What
can
say
you repeat the question so I can get a full understanding?
What would be, for the audience, one major takeaway or one thing you want us to know about the Bear Big Boy community?
Well, like Ali says, that we are welcoming, but at the same time, in my opinion, just be yourself. Go into the community being yourself, and you will find the people you're supposed to be with. Because the community will try to change you or mold you into a certain way that you may not fit into. But if you go in being yourself with an open mind and having fun, you'll find the community within a community. Yep. You'll find your tribe within the tribe.
And you know what? All I can say to that is hallelujah, hallelujah.
If you don't see nothing that represents you, then make it.
Exactly.
Okay. Can I have your social media, everybody, before we close out of here?
Well, mine at the bottom with my name. So that's my Twitter handle at the bottom, BigBoi Project 1. Or you can go to my website, thebearsnetwork.com, and you can catch all the rest of my social media there.
Yeah. So mine's D2 Doodles at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Okay, Mr. Ali Lopez, do you have
ST5 at AOL.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Go ahead.
Well, no, please finish.
But before I go, one thing that I would like to say, I want to wish everyone a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, everything that you celebrate, Happy Hanukkah, everything that you celebrate, we celebrate with you. We are one. And until we are all one, good night.
Thank you.
All right.
Happy holidays and a wonderful 2023, my brothers. Thank you so much for appearing on Wyatt.
Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
Feliz
everybody.
Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
So there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page at WyattEvans.com. The go-to destination, y'all, for LGBTQ plus news, commentary, features, and entertainment. WyattEvans.com is visited by over 100 countries on the regular. And at WyattEvans.com, you'll find my Smoking Hot, HAWT Hot, series of novels, the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series. And the current installment is Frenzy! Yeah, Frenzy. And Frenzy is like chock full of masculine romance, danger, action, intrigue, and all the erotica that you would ever need. And hey, its predecessor is Rage. And get this, in March of 2023, the sequel, the brand new installment in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels dropped. It's called Shattered. I said Shattered. And y'all, I got a huge rollout planned rather, is going to delight you. So keep Shattered in mind. So if you want to contact me, your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, all of my social media is like right there, like poof, right in your faces. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 and hi. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas and an awesome 2023, and I'm going to be back in January.